Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day.
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay. First, I would like to thank you for choosing us as your highest excitement.
Absolutely.
And
there is nothing boring about any of you.
thank you.
Always keep us on the edge of our seats.
And
yes.
I would like to extend my love to you and all the SSINA people.
Our love to you as well.
Thank you. I feel very connected to hybrid children right now.
You are.
And I feel this thing in my heart.
Yes.
It feels so good, and I just want to stay here.
What you are feeling is home. Thank you for being at home, so that when we knock on your door, you answer. Yes.
I have dreams about babies.
Yes.
And there's always some kind of spaceship flying around.
Yes. Well, you're having some leak through of memories from actual interactions with the hybrid children on the ships.
So usually I will hold a baby and then I give it away. And
yes.
That doesn't feel sad to me.
I understand, because it's part of the agenda, and you understand that. So you're playing your part, and eventually you'll be able to interact more frequently with those beings.
There have been times where I feel physically pregnant.
Yes.
Has that happened?
Yes, but only for a short duration.
Yeah.
And then the children are raised on the ships.
Okay.
Are you okay with this?
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
It's very exciting.
Oh, all right, yes.
Can you tell them I love them so much? I love them. Can you
They know
tell
that.
them?
They love you. And they are always excited when they see you.
When do they see me?
When you're on the ships.
So I do that regularly?
Regularly enough.
I don't remember it.
Anything else?
Can you help me remember it? Can
No,
you give me?
but you will remember it when you need to.
Okay.
You can ask when you go to sleep for more memory of it.
Okay.
That can help.
Okay. Is there any kind of a name that I could maybe relate to? There was, in my last dream, there was a baby that I held, and I actually had this baby in my house, in my dream.
Yes.
And my children recognized the baby, and it was the first time that in a dream I did not have to give the baby back in a way.
Yes. Although you did, but it
yes.
lasted longer.
Okay. Is there a name?
Briar.
Okay.
Will that do? So if you wish, when you go to sleep, ask to see Briar. That can be a conduit for you to gain more memory of what's going on.
Okay. Okay.
Will that help?
Yes. I recently went to the redwoods and the sequoias in Mount Shasta.
Yes.
And while I was in Mount Shasta,
you were in Mount Shasta? You mean the area?
Yes.
Oh, all
yes.
right.
When I was coming to the mountain,
yes.
I saw an image that looked exactly like my dreams, like
yes.
a place that I've been to in my dreams.
That's because the energy of the area upgraded your vibration to make you more receptive and perceptive of the existence of that reality. Therefore, it overlapped and overlaid on your senses.
Okay. Yeah, it felt like for a very long time.
Yes.
It
Remember,
wasn't going away.
everything exists here and now,
Yeah.
all at once. So when you shift your vibration, you can see things that might be invisible to you.
Okay. There also seemed to be like 3 sunsets. It made me feel very
That's a different thing, but we won't go into that now.
Okay.
Just focus on Briar
Yes.
for now.
Yes.
This will aid and assist you.
Thank you.
Pleasant dreams.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Oh, so glad to be here. Okay, so I just want clarification. So this week was a little rough, and I noticed that
Rough.
emotionally rough.
Oh, wow,
Because I
how
kept
exciting.
noticing that I get so caught up in the result or the circumstance, and
Yes.
I know that you say all the time it's not about the circumstances, it's
Yes,
about
it's
your
about
state
the
of
state
being.
of being, yes.
But then I
But-
see a circumstance, and then I get so upset that
Yes.
then I wonder if I really know that.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
Because what you know to be true, you do. It's in your behavior. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to wonder if you believe it. You just do it. That's when you know something.
Right, so then I must not know it. So
Correct.
can
And so you can still practice until you do.
just practice.
Well, you have a deeper understanding of how the machine works, so to speak, the machine. The idea will be that you will define these things in a different way that will give you the motivation and incentive to change and to know these things. Because until you understand that the way you're focusing on this is actually a limitation, you'll keep doing it. But once it finally sinks in that what you're doing is actually limiting you, then you will break free because you will not prefer to be limited. Many of you think that the things you focus on are actually what expands you, when in fact they are the things that limit you. So once you understand that, you won't do them anymore because you will not prefer to be limited unless, of course, you do choose to be limited in that way.
Gotcha. Okay. So the whole thing about me constantly looking at the circumstance and then getting affected,
Yes.
I need to just somehow.
Is you're looking at it as if that's supposed to actually expand you when in fact what you're doing is choosing a limitation because you are afraid to be expanded, because the negative belief is making you afraid to change it.
Gotcha.
But once you understand that that fear is just smoke and mirrors, so you won't change the negative belief, then you can say, aha, I caught ya. And I know you're just a belief, and I know you can be changed, and I prefer to change you because I understand that the positive beliefs are what will actually allow me to expand in the way that I prefer to, and that there's nothing to be afraid of.
Okay.
So
See,
thank you,
when you
negative
say
belief.
it, I totally believe it.
Then that's a good example
Yeah.
for you. Allow yourself, if you wish, you can use this as a permission slip. So in your day, when you're in those moments, you can say, what would Bashar say to me right now? And you will be saying it to yourself because you're saying it to yourself right now anyway.
Okay.
Because you're talking to your higher mind using me as a mask.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
So it's all right. You can say, what would Bashar say?
Or what would Bashar do?
And what would Bashar do?
Okay.
And
Like, what would Jesus do?
eventually, that will start transforming into, what would I say? What would I do? Because it is you telling yourself these things, just in a way that acts as a permission slip to allow your belief system to believe that you can give yourself permission. And I'm happy to be your permission slip. But you are the one making the changes, even if you're using me as an excuse to do so.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
I just wanted to ask, sometimes I see like this blue light or
Yes.
green. What is that?
It is a sensory perception of the frequency that is representative of the state of being that would serve you best. And when you act from that state of being, then you will be more aligned with your true vibration.
Okay.
So, go to the light.
One last question. Can I get a name for my hybrids that will help me connect?
Yes, I suppose you could.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't say I was going to give
Okay.
it to you.
Can you please give me a name that will help me connect with them more?
Do you have a favorite flower?
Not really. I like lotus flower.
Is that a guess or a statement?
it was a guess. But I can make it a statement.
What is it about the lotus flower that you enjoy?
Well, it's the symbol. It's how in the muck grows this beautiful flower.
So
yeah.
will lotus do?
Yeah.
All right. Then use lotus.
Okay. So it's just I create
The
it.
suggestion came from a hybrid child to ask you what your favorite flower is so that when you named it, that would be the vibration that would connect you because you created that connection in this dialogue. And therefore lotus will work because you came up with it as a representation, as an answer in this dialogue. And therefore the hybrid child knew that that would work for you.
Gotcha.
Does that help?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nania?
So is it okay if we choose 5 more names?
What is your time?
We have about 45 minutes.
What is your time?
So we have, till about...
You may choose 5.
Thank you.
Remember that we will determine the timing.
Of course.
Therefore, just let us know the time.
Okay.
There are many things happening that many of you are unaware of.
Oh, do tell.
Nope. Because you are unaware of them. And they must remain so at the moment.
There was a question that came from a Ustream listener that was like, what does that mean when you say that it's not allowed to be disclosed at this time?
Your higher mind or the collective consciousness is saying that it would be an interruption in a process that you have chosen for us to tell you certain things. This is why we automatically impose a block on ourselves so that we will not spill the beans on a process that you need to go through. So when there are things that you yourselves have decided would not serve you to know at this time, we will not have that information to give you. It's a natural filtering system to make sure that you go through the process you chose to go through so you would have a deeper appreciation of whatever the outcome would be. And then when you open those doors at the end of that process, there will be other things that perhaps we will be able to say because you have changed yourself into a person that is then the kind of person to whom such information would be relevant. But giving you certain information before you're ready for it would not serve you.
Gotcha.
It might in fact sometimes only act to confuse you.
Right. So, because I think sometimes people interpret that as, oh, you're withholding information from us.
Yes. But imagine, as you recently discussed, that if we had early on when we initially started speaking with all of you, told you everything in 1 hour that we've told you over the past 33 years, you wouldn't know what to do with that information. You would just walk away utterly in a cloud and a fog.
Yeah, that would be pretty intense, for sure.
Yes, it would.
We really appreciate you being gentle and delicate with us.
Oh, is that what you think I'm doing? Well, you all have a surprise coming.
Okay, so the first name is Karma. Her name got picked. And then the next and okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and lastly, Blanca Sanchez. Okay, and then we'll save some time for some Ustream questions.
Maybe.
But I only picked 4.
I know.
So what does that mean?
You'll find out.
I guess so. All right.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Yes, actually just talking about the ecosystem and whatnot. I'm just curious about the drought, especially here in California.
Yes.
What do you predict coming?
I don't predict.
What do you see coming?
What I see is what exists as the energy existing now. The idea, therefore, is that the imbalance in your climate will continue for a while.
Especially here in California?
Yes.
Okay. And how long
Over
do
the
you...
next 3 of your years, as we read the energy now, there may be a shift.
For the worse?
A shift.
Okay.
A change in the climate to some degree.
Okay.
Sometime within the next 3 years, this may be probable to bring you some more water. But
Okay.
that may mean that drought will occur somewhere else.
Okay, and I'm also curious, how do you interact with Daryl? Do you telepathically? I mean,
Yes,
do you,
this is a telepathic connection.
okay. Do you
More
come
precisely, a telepathic connection. The channel has been trained to change its brainwave frequencies to be something closer to ours. We change ours to be something closer to his in that state. And when we match frequencies sufficiently enough, then it's like two tuning forks vibrating in synchronous harmony. And my thoughts automatically translate through him into your language because by operating on the same frequency, his brain is processing the same thoughts at the same time that I am.
Okay. And do you collectively come up with your agendas and what you want to speak of?
We trust synchronicity.
Okay.
Many times you will find that aside from the idea of the title or a download, I will have absolutely no idea what I'm going to say until I need to say it.
Gotcha. Let me ask you one quick question about breaking habits.
Yes.
Whether it's eating too much, drinking too much,
Yes, yes, yes.
procrastination. What
The
is
first step would be to redefine the concept of a habit. Because a habit, as we have said, is something you do that you don't know you're doing. When you know you're doing it, when you recognize that a habit is there, it's not a habit anymore, it's a choice. Then you would logically have the question, why would I choose something I don't prefer? And that's the beginning of the investigation that will discover the belief that you're holding on to that causes what you're calling to be the repeated behavior. And once you can identify that and see that it's out of alignment with who you prefer to be and let it go, then the repeated behavior will no longer exist. Remember that in order to recognize you have a habit, you actually have to be outside of the habit in the same way that to recognize you're in a forest, you have to be beyond it to know that it was a forest. So the recognition of the habit is actually the end of the process of letting go of the habit. But if you have a belief that continues the behavior, then it's a choice and you have to find out why that choice exists because you must believe you're getting something out of continuing to behave the same way or you wouldn't do it.
Nice.
How's that?
That was very nice.
All right.
And one quick one, this is just curiosity. What are your thoughts on L. Ron Hubbard and what it's all about, Scientology?
There are no thoughts that I have to share with you on that at this time.
All right, thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I have a couple of questions. One is sometimes when I sleep, I'm conscious. Like it's still,
Yes.
I'm aware. And
You are aware or unaware?
No, I'm aware.
All right.
And sometimes I feel, I don't know what it is, like craft or some type of, like someone is there.
Yes, yes, yes.
And sometimes I even say, I know you're there.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
And they're playing a little game with you.
yes, and
Hide and seek
and I
to
feel like
draw you more into that level of awareness.
and-
Remember, we don't sleep at all anymore because we are fully awake in the physical dream. This is sort of where you're heading. And they're luring you into more of that lucidity.
Well, sometimes
Yes?
I feel like they zap something or they put something here.
Well,
my
they, with
forehead.
you, make alterations in the frequencies that give you more ability to continue to expand in the game.
Yeah, and sometimes I catch myself talking.
Yes?
Like the other night.
Well,
I
that's
know,
only polite.
Well, there's
Because if they're having a conversation with you, it wouldn't do much good for you to remain silent.
Well, I know I feel like I talk out loud even in my sleep because
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you're actually in another dimension talking. Not really asleep as you understand sleep.
and then also I
Yes.
can see my parallel lives merging,
Yes.
and I'm a little bit disappointed with me now.
Why are
on
you
this-
disappointed?
Because I've seen myself become light, or I've seen myself get
And
a
how do
certain
you think
level.
you're going to get there? By being who you are now. If you invalidate the stepping stone you are now, you remove it and remove your ability to step from it to the next stone. So just because you see a version that might in some senses be considered more preferable, if you invalidate the you are now by being disappointed in it, you actually remove your ability to become that you prefer. All things must be valid in order for you to use them.
And I can see that in theory, and sometimes I feel like I can't shake off.
That's a belief that you have just stated. The
Yes.
fact that you can only see it in theory is the product of what you believe. Find the belief that says that it's only a theory to you and let it go, and then it will become real. All it takes is a deeper understanding of how existence works. That's all. It's very simple.
So, okay. So at first when I would feel these ETs or whatever was,
Yes.
I would be really scared.
Yes, because certain parts of your physical consciousness think that suddenly you're out of control, and so you go into survival mode. But that's all right. It's just that the energy is forcing you to face these negative beliefs within yourself, and therefore that's the origin of the fear. It's not really a fear of them, it's a fear of yourself, a fear of your own beliefs.
Well, now that I'm okay, I feel like I can't see them as well.
That's because you're acclimating to a new energy. Other things will start happening, but they will give you time to rest and acclimate to the new level that you have arrived on.
So is that what's happening now? I'm
Yes.
resting? Okay, because nothing's happening now. I feel.
Oh, many things are happening now. But again, redefine. As we have often demonstrated, instead of this, up and down and up and down and up and down, it's this.
Yes, I remember
The resting
that.
periods allow you to go higher next time.
Yeah,
So
you-
it's a constant upward motion and acceleration of your energy.
Yeah, I remember you said that once, and it's always in my mind.
Then when you need to remember it, remember it.
And also, I'd like to thank you. I came to see you once before for the first time, and I was actually disappointed again.
You have, in that sense, made a choice to constantly disappoint yourself
Yeah.
from your place of power.
Yes.
Reappoint yourself to your place of power. Stop invalidating who you are at this moment. Stop invalidating what's happening in your life right now. Otherwise, you can't use it to get to the next stage.
So when I came home, I had a talk, with you in the car.
Yes.
And later on, like maybe for the next couple months, I felt a lot of download that I
All
felt
right.
was connected to you. So I apologized, and then I thanked you. So thank you.
What are you apologizing for?
Well, because I think, like I said, I do recognize that I go through this
So what?
mastery of things, and then disappoint, and then mastery, and then disappoint.
All right, but ultimately, remember the two-word mantra.
Yes.
So what?
Yes, I remember that too from
All
you.
right.
So what?
So what? Big deal. All right. Maybe you didn't go down a path that you really would prefer for that moment, but you can still learn from it.
Yes.
Therefore, so what?
And that's what I see now, that even though
All right.
I learned from. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I want to first thank you. This is my first time seeing you live, so it's really great.
Well, you're not really seeing me, but
Whoa.
thank you.
Kind of, but yeah, I guess. So I want to tell you a little bit of a story first, and then it'll lead to a question.
All right.
So since I was younger, I've had a lot of dreams that would be perceived as like sleep paralysis,
Yes.
and like
Which
someone.
again is one of the symptoms of being shifted to another reality.
Right. But I always wake up hyperventilating, like
Yes.
almost to like too much of an extreme where I
Yes.
feel like I can't breathe.
Yes.
And it's really frightening at times.
Nothing really will happen to you. It's just that you are not used to the re-entry into your physical reality because you actually, in those moments, prefer to stay in the other one.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
All right, but everything's fine. Just relax. It's okay to be where you are. That's the agreement you made.
Well, yesterday, after seeing you on Friday night, and then yesterday I took a nap, and just within that time frame, I was able to go somewhere, I don't know
Yes.
where,
Yes, yes, yes.
where I was interacting with children, and I didn't hyperventilate the same as
All
I
right.
usually do. So it's,
They may have
changing.
assisted you then with that.
but I felt someone like pulling on my shoulder, kind of like.
As I said, they may have assisted you
Okay.
a little bit with that.
Okay.
So you do have help. Ask, and you shall receive.
Okay.
And
And then.
know that it's already being given, and become more aware of the help that's already being given.
Okay.
That's what asking is actually all about. Asking is not asking for something you're not being given. Asking is putting yourself in a state where you become more aware of what's already being given to you.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, very much so.
All right. So breathe easily. Breathe,
Thank you.
breathe, breathe.
And then also, so in my dreams,
Yes.
I haven't had any recently, but when I was, I don't know, 16, 17, I used to have dreams of really being pregnant. Like I thought, like I would wake up and look at my stomach. There was no way I could be pregnant at that time, but I really thought I definitely was.
All right.
So does this have something to do with hybrid children?
Yes, it does.
And so since everyone's asking names, is there a name in particular that will help me as I go to bed to think about?
Violet.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And one last question. So I have been going back and forth between moving recently.
Where are you more excited to be?
Okay, and then, yeah, Sedona is my place where I would move to.
Are you excited to be there?
Yes,
All right. What else needs to be said?
you're right. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
Great.
All right.
This is kind of synchronization. Previous lady was asking kind of similar question as
Yes.
mine, but I had really similar experience last month. I was very exhausted, sleeping for two weeks.
Yes.
Sleeping every day.
Yes. And?
I thought pregnant, but I was not. Is this hyperchildren?
You are connected, but there is more information to come for you if you will relax into it. You're holding some of that information away. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Don't be afraid. There is nothing to be afraid of. One moment. In the near future, there will be a transmission specifically from a group of hybrid children that will aid and assist many of you with these kinds of issues. We will let you know when the timing for that is appropriate. Save your interactions until then. All right?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I have one more question.
Speak up.
Okay. When I went to Mount Shasta,
Oh, were you also inside the mountain?
no, in the area.
Yes, 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 I know. I'm having fun with you.
Okay. While I was go back to home
Yes.
in the around mountain, while I was driving a car, I was suddenly shift it to another world, like,
Yes.
and then
Well, like I said, when you go into vortexes that upgrade your energy, suddenly you are able to perceive many different kinds of dimensions around you, some to lesser or greater degree. So this is one of the symptoms of expanding your senses, that you will suddenly perceive other dimensions.
okay,
Yes?
yes,
This is natural.
yes.
You'll get used to it. I know that it may seem a little bit confusing at first, but you'll get used to it. You are learning to multitask in your consciousness and perceive more simultaneity that you'll be able to use in a new way in the upcoming years to navigate your way through all the different changes that are happening. Having the ability to simultaneously perceive more parallel realities than one helps you navigate through them more consciously. So this is one of the symptoms you're preparing yourself with to be able to do that, to change more smoothly, to navigate through the changes more smoothly. All right?
Amazing,
Yes, it is.
amazing.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Nania?
Yes? How'd you know?
Oh, just a lucky guess.
So it's
Oh,
like 10
because I can count.
Oh. Well, you do count.
Why, thank you. So do you.
So it's like 10 after 1, so can I ask some questions from...
Let's start with one.
Okay. Well, the first one actually came in last night, and that was, you say the universe contains positive and negative,
Yes.
and we can choose to give things whatever meaning we want.
Yes.
Is it enough to just recognize that the negative exists, or does all that is require that somebody experience the negative experiences?
There is always the experience of all of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's being experienced in the way that you might think. Nevertheless, I believe you have many, many examples on your planet that many of you are actually experiencing the negative.
But is that necessary?
If the person believes that it is for their growth because they wish to explore that, then obviously they believe it is necessary.
And in the scope...
Obviously, in the choices that are made is the determination. For example, as we have said, we don't necessarily experience the negative in our reality in the way that you do. We know it's there. We understand that it can be used in certain positive ways to impose certain parameters, not exactly limitations, but parameters that allow us to experience reality in the way that we prefer to. Therefore, we're using the mechanical construct of negative energy to create parameters that may on one level look like limitations, but really are the parameters that define the reality we wish to experience at that moment. So we have learned to use negativity in a positive way, which means we are still experiencing negativity, but we're not experiencing negativity in a negative way. So you can do that.
So, but on the grand scheme of things, since
Everything always exists.
So does that mean that by definition,
Yes.
all of those negative experiences will also be experienced
Yes.
by someone, someplace,
If
somewhere?
only by all that is. Even if only by all that is. It's still being experienced by someone.
So it wouldn't be a frozen snapshot if all that is experiencing it?
It is a frozen snapshot. But nevertheless,
Time and space is required to experience it.
in a manner of speaking, at least there are many different versions of time and space other than what you know.
Right.
But all that is being all that is will also experience all of itself in all the ways that it can. Therefore, if nothing else, at the very least, all that is will experience it. But you have to understand that all that is doesn't experience it in the way that you do. So it's still being experienced as negativity, but the experience of the experience is very different than what you understand as an experience in your physical frame of reference.
So I guess the bottom line is like we can sleep at night knowing this.
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
It's not like when you choose a positive reality, somebody else has to slip into that slot and
It doesn't
experience the
work quite
negativity.
that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs in that context. It doesn't work quite that way, no. It's not musical chairs
So then somebody asked, well, how can I be happy knowing that other people have to suffer,
I didn't say other people have to suffer.
but that there are other people suffering?
Well, there are. But if you're not happy, you're only adding to the overall misery, aren't you?
So you support or help people transform from negative to positive
Yes.
by choosing a positive perspective yourself.
Of course, because how can you help them transform to positive or even give them an option if you're also sharing the negative vibration?
Right, that's only logical.
It is.
And then, if our soul is unconditional love, why did we choose a life with evil, murder, and darkness? What's the benefit?
You'll find out.
But,
As we have said many
Yeah.
times, on the very, very, very most basic level, the experience of process is what your life is all about. And many times you will attract the concept of the negative to highlight the positive that you prefer. Poetically put, once again, it's much easier to see the tiny little candle flame of light when it's surrounded by a vast darkness. It's easier to find. So you can use the negative to point out the things that are positive more easily.
right, you can find positive meaning even in this exploration
Yes.
didn't everybody come here sort of to have negative experiences and
Not
experience the
everybody,
darkness?
not everybody in the way that you mean it, but you understand that this is a place of polarity, and therefore you will find creative ways to use it. Some will be more extreme than others.
Wasn't part of this about being able to come to a planet where you could experience and revel in negativity
Yes.
to the degree that you wanted, so
Yes.
that,
That's one path, yes.
which is really interesting, you know?
Well, it's kind of like saying, now understand, of course, this is an extreme euphemism, but I believe you will get the point. It's like getting it out of your system. You understand?
So all those people that got thrown to the lions back in Roman times,
Yes.
they were just like, okay, I think I'll just have a really dark experience and go to Earth
In a
and
sense,
see what it's
although
like.
you're putting kind of a human thought pattern on top of it, because that's not the way it appears when it is chosen from the soul level. Not exactly. It can be close, but it's not exactly that way. You're expressing this through a physical human personality thought pattern. And so there's a slight difference.
Because there is a process of just coming to terms with human history as we know it at this point,
Yes.
where we've seen such extreme levels of negativity.
Yes. So you may, for example, find that a soul will say, all right, I see this is going on. And if I choose to participate in this and also allow myself to experience this kind of extreme negativity, maybe my death will make all the difference. And somebody will change from that. The point really is because it is such an overwhelmingly, all-consuming, richly complex orchestration, you can't always be sure exactly why what's going on is going on and who it's actually serving until you really, really take a really good look. And then you can start to see the orchestration more clearly and why souls may choose what they choose. Because there are many other reasons going on quite holographically than what might just be the single simplistic reason that appears on the surface. It's a very deep multidimensional orchestration.
And it seems like at these particular times, now that we have the information that you've shared with us, we are much more at choice about whether to fall into the trap of negativity or simply make choices that allow us to have a positive experience.
Yes, because you now understand that negativity isn't actually a trap. It's a choice. Therefore, you are free to free yourself.
And we can use it from the perspective of the rubber band analogy.
The farther back you pull the rubber band into the darkness, when you finally let go, you will fly that much farther and that much faster into the light.
Yippee for the light. Liking that.
And yippee for the dark.
Well, that's true, because we allow all, right?
Yes,
Because
you
that's
do.
the whole point.
It is. And at this timing,
Okay.
you may take a short break And we will resume this transmission with your holotope experience.
Okay, thank you.
How's it going? But it'll take a day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, we thank all of you collectively and each of you individually for the gift you are giving us of interacting with you and seeing through all of you how many more ways creation has of expressing itself within all that is. So we thank you for that gift. Today being your Father's Day in your area, on your planet, in your culture, and being the title of the State of the Union, and in honoring both of these concepts, the transmission for the first part, as we have already said, will be delivered by my father. One moment. I have been a first contact specialist for 1,000 of your years. I have interacted with over 300 civilizations in that time. 157 of those civilizations have gone on to have first contact with us. 48 of those have become part of what we term our interstellar alliance. As you can tell from what we have just said, not all civilizations with whom we make first contact will necessarily continue to have relations with us by their choices. By their collective consciousness, they choose other paths from time to time. But we will always accept the invitation of those, such as yourselves, who send out the vibrational energy that invites us to make contact with you in this way. And we will, through many different methodologies, deliver the information to you in such a manner as to give you the opportunity to decide what is true for you and whether you wish to continue to interact with us or others like us. At this timing, we will explain to you some of the methodologies that are utilized in our assessment of our first contact protocols. Because this day, at this timing, you have arrived as a civilization at a point that is common for many civilizations who have begun the process of contact with us. We refer to this particular moment in a way that would translate into your language as the 88-22-10 scenario. The 88-22-10 scenario is described as follows. There will be certain collections of probabilities that will build up to a certain point. Beyond that, at this point, the information is relatively extraneous. And so an 88% probability is the maximum that we can read at this time, for many things are still in flux. The 22% probability represents the opposite of what we may tell you about the 88% probabilities. You will notice that this adds up to more than 100%. But this is not the way that we calculate these things. The 88% is from 0 up. The 22% is from 100% backwards, thus leaving what you would call a 10% overlap, in which many unexpected things can occur and change the course radically of events as we read them now. Remember that what we are about to tell you is energy as it exists at this moment, now that you have reached this point in your civilization, which is common to many civilizations, once they have received a certain amount of information from us or others like us. Thus, you have an opportunity to recognize that what we are about to say are not what you call classically predictions in your understanding of this, but again, a reading of the energy as it exists at this moment, maxing out, as you say, at 88 percentile, with a 22% probability of going in exactly the opposite direction and a 10% overlap of something completely unexpected happening, taking you in a completely different course. Therefore, read clearly, understand clearly what we are about to say. As we read your energy at this time, politically, you have in your culture an 88% probability of having what you would term a female presidency. You have then, therefore, a 22% probability of the opposite happening, and a 10% probability of something completely unexpected taking place. Politically, you have an 88% probability within your next 4 years of a major terrorist action taking place on your globe. This will occur in probability at this point, regardless of the previous 88% probability of your political election. One moment. Economically, you have an 88% probability over the course of the next 2 years of having what you have termed a major financial and economic adjustment in your system. In terms of first contact, over the next 4 years of your time, you have an 88% probability of proving to yourselves in one way, shape, or form that life exists beyond your world, thus increasing the probabilities of the window for contact beyond that year. ecologically. Over the course of the next 5 of your years to 10 of your years, you have an 88% probability still of a particular oceanic ecosystem experiencing total collapse. Again, you have at this point a 22% probability of the opposite happening and a 10% probability of something completely unexpected occurring and taking you in a completely different direction. Technologically, between your time that you consider to be your present and your year of 2025, you have an 88% probability of discovering a new technology that will allow you at a more accelerated rate to shift over to the utilization of non-damaging technologies for the generation of power. One moment. Politically, there is an 88% probability that if the first 88% probability is fulfilled, that you will experience a radical shift in what you would call your two-party system of politics. As you have begun to see, it may begin to shift more earnestly into a three-party system. One moment. Again, understand the concept of these probabilities, both the 88% and the 22% and the 10. This is a different formulation than you have utilized before with your understanding of such things. And therefore, there is an 88% probability that 88% of you will misinterpret what we have said. Therefore, allow yourselves to go with your flows, to be yourselves as fully as you can. There will be more of this information delivered within the next year or two of your time as you begin to enter the 88-22-10 phase of this process of contact, and allow yourselves more opportunity to see more clearly the paths you have laid out for yourselves, both individually and collectively. In having mentioned to you that not all civilizations contacted continue on to the idea of open contact or the joining of our alliance, we thus encourage each and every one of you to take stock in your own minds, your own hearts, your own spirits, to decide what is true for you, and to begin to put forth into your society in a more active way the ideas, the realities, the concepts that you prefer, which will then radiate outward from your world in a manner that we will perceive as your decision and your choice with respect to your relations to us. And also, as of this moment, in my being, what you would recognize, though not exactly in the way you understand these things, as my self being in our family lineage, the head of the Council of First Contact Specialists. That, as of this moment, will now shift to my son. I will go on to many things in terms of the coordination and organization of such contact should it occur. But in this moment of 88, 22, and 10, being this place that you have arrived, this energy, this frequency you have now arrived at, this shift is necessary for the entity that you have termed Bashar, that which is one of my sons, being then the main being from our family lineage of contact specialists that will guide you the rest of the way. We have and will continue to be involved in a variety of ways. But this shift is now timely for a variety of reasons we will go into at another time. We extend to each and every one of you our deepest appreciation and gratitude for your willingness to open your hearts and minds to us and to extend the invitation which we have answered and will continue to answer for as long as you choose. But it is in your hands and no one else's at this point in your evolution toward becoming the sixth hybrid race. We thank you for your strength. We thank you for your power. We thank you for your boldness and your creativity. Do not lose sight of those qualities within yourselves, for they will guide you as a beacon the rest of the way. And you, by continuing on that path, will awaken, and you will eventually come home. And so happy Father's Day. At this timing then, according to what has just been given to you, we will continue in our sharing, in our relation at this moment of the 88-22-10 crossing threshold that will lead you into and through the fall of 2016 and beyond, knowing that remaining in the vibrational state of being that you prefer will allow you to ride smoothly on those currents which will carry you all the way through and into more and more and more of the true essence of your being. In return, thus now, for the gift you are giving to all of us, how may we be of service to you with your questions and your dialogues? Please proceed however you so desire at this time.